What is happening? Welcome to the Plus Pitch Podcast, a morning pitching podcast from PitcherList.com. My name is Nick Pollack. Today is July 10th, and yes, we are going to talk about baseball. Cam Jansen. Yes, that is for those who read the Cam Jansen books. When I was a kid, I read them. I loved them. And Cam Schlittler, Wednesday evening, had his MLB debut. 5.1 innings, 300 runs, 4 hits, 2 walks, and 7 strikeouts. 10 whiffs here, 35% CSW, only 75 pitches. Yes, he could have been pushed and all in the 6th inning and blah, blah, blah. It's an MLB debut. Let the guy go and strike out Cal Raleigh, have that wonderful thing and sign off. And he did have a careful Icarus here. He allowed 2 solo shots and the 3rd run came in that 6th. But Cam is a guy that you should have in your 12-teamers. He threw 98 mile per hour fastballs. He sat there for the night. He touched 100 exactly and had 4 others that were rounded up to 100. But that fastball, by the way, is not anything outside of the velocity and the location. He did a good job of throwing strikes with his pitch and also keeping it upstairs. But the the attack angle is steep and the extension is average, right? The vert, it looks kind of good, 17 to 18 inches of vert. However, the high release point makes it not actually that surprising for batters. So keep that in mind. But the thing is, with that velocity and good control, really, he has an amazing slider that he pairs with it. And Cam has a slider that's going to be around 90 miles per hour. Probably also that fastball is going to be like 97. Moving forward, not the 98. It's MLB debut. We see those velocity bumps. It was at 91, 92 last night, the slider. And he threw so many strikes with it. He didn't get it down, which I think that is something that he'll get over time. But man, is it such a good compliment to that fastball. You have a sweeper as well that he also keeps a little too high up. And then he has a good curveball as well. A huge one, minus 15 drop, which is insanely good. Huge difference, 30 plus inches between the four-seamer and the curveball. And he throws it hard, over 83 miles per hour. It wasn't as many strikes as I've seen in the minors from Kim. But yeah, this is a really good pitcher. And if he does have runway in the rotation for the Yankees, you won't drop him. The problem is that we don't really know what his future entails. It certainly feels like he's going to get the ire of all of New York City if he does not continue inside this rotation. But Schlittler is the number 4 right now. Marcus Stroman the number 5. And then after the All-Star break, you have likely a starter getting acquired by the Yankees. And you also are going to have Luis Heel returning from rehab at some point in early August. Now, they are stretching him out as a starter. However, we don't really know if that's going to stick. If Cam is killing it and there are no interruptions with Carlos Rodon and Max Fried and Will Warren, then Cam is free. And I should also mention, Will Warren might get slowed down over time. And Cam can step in. He had over 120 innings last year in the minors. So I think you're going to pick up Cam. You're going to hold him the rest of the way and enjoy the time on a winning ball club. You have Jesus Luzardo being normal. Because if you follow this podcast and my roundups, you'll see the whole narrative, the journey of Luzardo. And yeah, last start before this was no sweeper command. It was just so bad. He got it back because, of course, that's not the Luzardo we expect every time. 7 innings, 0 runs, 3 hits, 1 walk, 7 Ks. Yes, it was against the Giants, sure. But he did exactly what he should do. So things are great. Sweeper was good. Lucas Giolito took advantage of his matchup against Rocky Road against them in Fenway. 6 innings, 0 runs, 4 hits, 0 walks, and 6 Ks. 17 whiffs, 34% CSW. Everything looks cool, right? Well, okay. So 5 starts now of Giolito just going, what, like 1 or 2 earned runs? Awesome. And I am not going to fall into this trap of saying, great, this is everything that I expected with Giolito, everything's fine now. It's not. Because the changeup is still a little bit off. He had a sub 60% strike rate on that. And he also had a slider at only 17% usage against all of those right-handers, which is really weird. The four-seamer is better than it has been in the past, right? We're used to seeing it at 93, maybe a little bit harder than that, but not with this much vert, not with this extension, and 94 now with about 17, 18 inches of vert with 6.8 extension. It's great. So he's going to Wrigley next, and then it's the Phillies. And I feel like Giolito is not fully polished with that changeup. And the four-seamer isn't just like the best commanded pitch. So yeah, be a little careful in Wrigley, and don't be surprised as he's going to have these bumps in the road, right? Giolito's great. He's not an ace. And yeah, you need to be cautious against good teams. You have Tyler Glasnow going against the Brewers, making his return finally. 5 innings, 0 runs, 2 hits, 3 walks, and 5 strikeouts. You don't get aces gonna ace until you go 3 games of looking like a stud. But he was at 7.8 feet of extension. All right, we need to take it back from Mizorowski, Glasnow says. And at 97 miles per hour velocity with that extension, he's now throwing a sinker to right-handers. Oh my gosh, he threw more sinkers to right-handers than four-seamers. Oh my gosh. Oh man, 11 extra inches of run on that. It's just such a good idea. You have now a four-seamer that was getting hit hard before, and now you have something else you got to think of. Oh yeah, that's a good thing. Slider, by the way, was not nearly as good, neither was the curveball, but those two, that's fine. Andrew Abbott against the Marlins, got to win. 7.2 innings, 100 runs, 6 hits, 2 walks, 5 Ks. He's doing something new too. He's leaning into the cutter now against these right-handers. 14% usage for 71% strikes. Beautiful. Changeup was really good. Breaking ball was really good. Four-seamer was really good. Andrew Abbott is just doing his thing, and it's great. Adrian Hauser, speaking of doing your thing, got a win against the Jays. The Jays are ultra hot. Oh my gosh. 7 innings, 1 earned run, 7 hits, 2 walks, 2 strikeouts. Not a good whip, by the way. Not a good whip. And only 2 strikeouts. But you got that 1 earned run. You got that win. And it's just sinkers over the plate. Koufax is a lovely man. It is a Vargas rule. He has a 1.56 ERA this year. Adrian Hauser in 57.2 innings. That is just bonkers. And you know this is going to regress. But if you just want to keep doing it against the Rays, I get it. It's a Vargas rule. This is what they're made of. Guys who are not this good, who are just executing enough strikes and it's working out. Jose Quintana, by the way, did really well against the Dodgers. Yes, the Dodgers. 6 innings and 1 earned run, 2 hits, 4 walks, and 4 Ks. He got his changeup down and away from righties, but everything else was kind of ugh, especially to lefties. Oh man, that approach to lefties was just like, here you go, do something with this, and they didn't. The Dodgers' offense is pretty cold right now, so just keep that in mind a little bit. And now Quintana goes into the T after the break. It's possible. I don't really feel like I have to do it. And also, is the situation right now on this Thursday that you're going to get the pitchers who went yesterday not going the next 4 days, and then they're going to be 4 days after, or 5 days even after, the All-Star break. So it's in your best interest to just drop a lot of them for a reliever that gives you something in between. Maybe that extra hitter on a Thursday like today. It might be difficult to do because the game started at 12 today. But you understand the point here of don't hold on to the streamers now because it's going to be a while before you get to start them again. Mackenzie Gore against the Cardinals got a win. 6 innings, 1 earned run, 5 hits, 1 walk, and 7 strikeouts. This looks like he's an ace, right? Got the win. This was actually not very good of Mackenzie Gore from a skill standpoint. 94.8 on the fastball, not 96. We got a lot of interesting command on that four-seamer. It was not nearly as precise as we've seen to both lefties and righties. The changeup and curve were just like, what? Against right-handers. And the slider was chaotic too. It was not good, Mackenzie Gore, and it still worked out. Good stuff. All right. Brandon fought against the Padres. He did something new too. Got the win. That's a win. That's a new thing right now. 8 innings, 2 earned runs, 4 hits, 0 walks, and 4 strikeouts. It's a great outing. And I've been saying Brandon Fott not only figured out the lefty thing before and then lost it, and that was why I was against it, because I was changeups and curveballs, and he just lost that. But he also lost the feel of a sweeper against right-handers. He's been not getting all the whiffs he used to get on that pitch. So now he has a cutter to lefties. He's actually figured something else out now. He threw the cutter more than any other pitch against lefties, 33% usage, 77% strike rate, no hits on that pitch to lefties, up and in. It was great. Against righties, he's threw sinkers and sweepers, but the sweeper only earned 3 total whiffs. I mean, that's just, what? That's not supposed to be the thing. So I'm kind of here. I like the cutter. I think that's cool. I don't know if he's going to always have that. And the fact that the sweeper still does not dominate right-handers. I don't know. I feel like that's strange. Right now, you against the Astros likely on the way back from the break. That's all righties. So the cutter thing doesn't really matter much. And you got to have that sweeper missing bats. Otherwise, it's just not going to work out. Slade Ciccone. Oh my gosh. The Slade Brigade keeps banging down my door, and I get it. Okay. It's a Vargas rule. Got the win against the Astros. 7 innings, 200 runs, 5 hits, 2 walks, and 9 strikeouts. What? Hold on. That's a King Cole, 39% CSW. And this is what I like to say a lot is when it comes to game-by-game assessment, really what you should be asking yourself is, all right, what is the product if everything works? Or really just what is the baseline of this guy? Like a normal day from this pitcher is what? Right. So then they have a game that is above that or below it. And you say, okay, was that baseline different? Did he do something improved or was a pitch missing or something like that? And then do we think this is something that he's going to latch on to, right? That this pitcher is going to continue doing or not. So you have failures like the sweeper missing with Luzardo. We didn't expect that to happen, right? With Slade, it's all about his command. And the four-seamer, sinker, cutter, and change all returned a 41% or higher CSW. You know that's not going to stick. You know that. He did a really good job of staying away from the Astros batters. You know this can't continue. But fine, Vargas ruled it. It's a guy who's in good rhythm with his pitches. He gets the Orioles, the Royals, and the Twins. I combined the Orioles and Royals into Orioles. Orioles. Okay. I am fine starting that if you want. But do keep in mind with these Vargas rules from yesterday. So Slade is in that. And we're going to talk about a couple more maybe later too. Maybe Zach Littell, you could say. It is a 13-day gap between yesterday, the 9th, and the 22nd, which is when a lot of these guys are going. That could disrupt this whole thing. Just the time in between. So keep that in mind. Bryce Elder against the Athletics, 6.2 innings of 200 runs, 8 hits, 1 walk, and 7 strikeouts. He got 24 whiffs. Oh my gosh, what? You got a gallows pole. You get the gold star here too, because Bryce Elder hasn't done well since that one game against the Pirates, was it? I mean, great. You had 13 over 51 whiffs on your sinker? No. Bryce Elder ain't going to do this. Sorry. Brandon Walter against the Guardians had a good game. 6 innings, 200 runs, 2 hits, 0 walks, and 7 Ks. It is always so funny to me when I get tweets and I get added and I get, mentioned on Reddit or whatever, when a player or the pitcher has a bad first inning. And when I say a bad first inning, it's like allowing 2 solo home runs like it did here for Brandon Walter. Oh, man. Oh, it didn't work out. It did. That is not the whole game. We see this a lot, where a guy gets bamboozled or has a rough first inning and settles down and is great after. And that's what happened here. We had a good game of changeups away to right-handers, some cutters inside as well, 4-seamers way out of the zone, so it kind of stole some strikes when it was in the zone. The sinker had 16 over 15 called strikes. It's kind of like the Freddie Pirate of not really going at it with 91 mile per hour fastballs and relying on the mid 80s and lower secondaries. But he's using both sides of the plate, unlike someone like Jacob Lopez, who really stays low and away, like the Freddie Pirate, Ryan Yarbrough. You have Brandon Walter going against the Snakes next, right? The Snakes of Arizona. I don't feel like you need to hold, like you don't want to do that, which means you really don't need to hold Brandon Walter through the long break. Justin Verlander, oh man. Justin Verlander had a game that I need to tell you guys about. I'm going to tell you all about it after this break. Justin Verlander against the Phillies, 6 innings of 200 runs, 7 hits, 0 walks, and 7 Ks. He did the thing, guys. 16 whiffs, 32% CSW. It was 4-seamers up at 95 and sliders down at 8 over 24 whiffs. Finally, he also got 73% strikes on his changeup, and he had a solid curve. And he gets the Jays next after the break. And not this break, but the All-Star break. Now, as I was saying, we don't know what's going to look like all the way then. It could be a Dennis, which is it shows up and then doesn't return. To stick around for long. So we're not ready to jump into it, but at least now we can wait and look at that start against the Jays, which I don't think he'll be picked up for. See if the skills will stick. And then he'll get Atlanta, and then 2 starts against the Pirates. And it might be a scenario where we're feeling good about those 2 starts against the Pirates. David Festa against the Cubs got a win, 5.1 innings, 200 runs, 3 hits, 2 walks, 3 Ks. He went dancing with the disco a bit here with his slider at 64% secondaries and also 36% fastballs. The changeup did well too. This was pretty cool. Not really the greatest fastballs, and I don't really think he got the 4-seamer upstairs much. It was fine. He got some Koufax help, But Festa is looking a little more consistent now, and I just hope they push him a little bit more in games. I understand it was, 6th inning, fine, got some trouble, but 72 pitches, like, come on, you can do a little bit more than that. Reese Olson's interesting here. It was against the Rays, 5 innings of 200 runs, 8 base runners, and just 1 strikeout. How am I supposed to butter my bread with this? The changeup is really good to lefties. Like, really absurd, 70% strike rate despite being a lot out of the zone, down and away. But the slider was very inconsistent to right-handers. And he had to turn to four-seamers and sinkers, and I just don't like that world for Reese Olson. And normally, actually, we see the slider being the pitch for him. So I'm not really going to buy into this. The Rangers and Pirates look to be who he's facing after the All-Star break, so I think that's fine. But keep in mind that Reese Olson is not the guy from last year yet. Eric Lauer had 7 strikeouts in 4 innings against the White Sox, and that's cool. But it would be the Yankees next, and also the Jays could be looking to replace him in that rotation, so I wouldn't go after that. Chris Bubic against the Pirates, he went 5 shutout innings, and he got singled out in the 6th. And now people are upset. 5.2 innings of 300 runs, 6 hits, 2 walks, and 6 strikeouts. Like, it's fine, guys. It's a careful Icarus. He did have, if you want to be upset about Bubic, be upset that he had a 45% strike rate on his changeup and 52% strikes in the sweeper, which is abnormal. Absolutely. And if that continues next time, then we got something to talk about. But no, Bubic is still good. Trust me here, okay? It might be some fatigue, but then again, the break might actually help him. So we'll see where he is on the other side of it. And then if this actually does continue, then okay, I understand. But as of now, I don't think that we're seeing enough to really jump off the Chris Bubic train. Speaking of the Vargas rules, Zach Littell, as I hinted at before, against the Tigers, got the win, but 5.2 innings of 300 runs, 6 hits, 2 walks, 4 Ks. He just had 1 bad inning. And I don't think it's supposed to last, but it is the Orioles and White Sox when we come back. So we can maybe try it for that, and then the Yankees and Dodgers are after, and we're very much out after that. Cool. Bailey Falter, 4.2 innings of 300 runs, blah, blah, blah. Not very good. You shouldn't go after it. The four-seamer is not doing all the things it needs to be. He's not going upstairs enough with it, even though it has all the good metrics. He actually had 111 fan for a plus. And he's got nothing else to throw, so fine. He hasn't been traded to the Rays yet. This is it. This is the one. This is the trade deadline when Bailey Falter becomes a Ray. I feel it. I just feel it in my bones. All right. Antonio Senzatella wasn't good in Fenway, but honestly, 4 runs in 5 innings is kind of good for Anthony Senzatella in Fenway. Maybe. Kate Horton against the Twins. Oh my gosh, so annoying. 4.2 innings of 4 runs, 6 hits, 2 walks, and 5 strikeouts. But 19 whiffs. 36% CSW. What's going on here? Well, the changeup was so good last time, right? Remember, I said, okay, at least he got this positive thing in the changeup. Hopefully that sticks. That's cool. Well, that was a 31% strike rate with a 25% non-competitive rate to left-handers. No. But the sweeper woke up against right-handers. 8 over 26 whiffs to right-handers with a single wasted one. Oh, they were down in glove side. It was beautiful. He threw 2 sweepers to lefties, and one of them was hit for a solo shot. And his whole attack against lefties was bad because the changeup wasn't there. But if you have all the pieces now that we've seen, like the four-seamer, the cut four-seamer, really good to lefties. I think it was commanded, actually, as well as I've seen. Inside and then back door. He just didn't have any supporting cast. If he has that fastball and changeup to lefties and then a fastball sweeper to right-handers and has some sinkers and he has some curveballs, like that works. That can be there. So I'm very curious. This is what development is. And we're seeing, like, we want to see these changes. We want to see these peaks. So I don't want it just to be boring throughout. I want actual peaks and little things here and there that hopefully he puts together as time goes on. Kyle Hendricks against the Rangers didn't do well because it's Kyle Hendricks. Logan Evans didn't do well against the Yankees because it's Logan Evans. Kumar Rocker didn't do well against the Angels because he didn't have his best cutter and nothing else is supporting. He's lost the feel for his slider and his curve. His fastballs are not enough. It's frustrating right now, but the cutter is so good that if he does finally find something, it does pop off. But yeah, we can't go after Kumar Rocker. Andre Bellante didn't do well against the Nationals because they're a left-handed lineup. And they actually threw a lot of righties against him too. His slider was sub 50% strike rate. It was 94 in the heater, not 95, 96. Yeah, we just don't go after Andre Bellante. Mitch Spence got bamboozled by Atlanta with 4 runs off of 2 home runs before he even had an out. Do not go after Mitch Spence, even though the slider was really cool against right-handers. And then we have some interesting ones. We have Sandy Alcantara, 5 innings, 600 runs. We were just not jumping in on this. It was against the Reds in Cincinnati. And he did have some better changeups to right-handers, but not against lefties. He didn't get any outs, which is really frustrating. He needs to get more of them there. And also, especially against the, right-handers getting fastballs inside. That is the other element missing. 0 outs on those. So that is, that's not it. And we need to see Sandy Alcantara throwing those effective fastballs inside, jamming batters. We also need to see the changeup as the neutralizer to both sides of the plate. We're just not there. We wait until we see it. A little bit better step forward on the changeup, though, in this one. And Dylan Cease, what do you do, right? 6 innings, 600 runs, 5 hits, 3 walks, and 8 strikeouts. He allowed 5 hits, and 3 of them were home runs. Just think about that for a second, right? I mean, that's just, okay. All 6 runs were off of the long ball, 2 solo shots, and a grand slam. And what you got to understand is everything that has happened with Dylan Cease does not matter. From this point on, do you expect Dylan Cease to be as destructive with the long ball, essentially, right? And the answer is no. You don't. You shouldn't. He goes through ebbs and flows, peaks and valleys. He ebbs and flows. And yeah, you shouldn't expect that. So I'm all in on Dylan Cease for the second half. I think he's an obvious buy low. I think that any manager who wants to drop him right now, you're just, if you don't have Dylan Cease, you know you're picking him up. Yeah, this is going to be corrected in some fashion. He's still getting whiffs. He's still featuring fantastic stuff. It's just, sometimes guys go through these moments, and that's that. But yeah, Dylan Cease still cool. All right, that is it for today. Thank you all so much for supporting what we do. My name is Nick Pollack, and may your BABIPs be low and your strikeouts high.